So we have 4 speakers, 2 local veteran-owned companies, GC Green and Phoenix Energy. And then we'll have Doug Applegate. He's on his way. He's running for Congress, the 49th District of California. And we're going to start our event. So this is Liz Perez, and she's from GC Green.
Hi everyone, and thank you, Lauren, for introducing me. Yes, I'm Liz Perez, and owner of GC Green. Started the company about 7 years ago, right in the heart of a recession, which was pretty crazy. At that time, people thought I was nuts, and which I think as an entrepreneur, you gotta be a little bit of that creative side and that business side and a little nutty side of things in order to be an entrepreneur. And it's been an interesting ride. And just to let you know, GC Green, we're an energy and water conservation and general contracting consulting firm. We're located actually right here in Vista off of Main Street, really nice area to have. And you know, a part of that, it's just been a wonderful journey, but also challenging experience along the way. You can imagine in the middle of a recession. And then really, as a business owner, I just transitioned out of the military. I was in the military nine years, active duty Navy. So transitioning, got out, recession, what did I do? And just a lot of interesting parts. And that's really why I'm here today, actually. And I'm an advocate for veteran-owned small business and just small business in general. And also, most importantly, I'm an advocate for energy and water security. So that's essential for our future. And really, and part of my background too, I'm Native American, I'm Mono Indian, and my tribe is located near Yosemite. So, and part of growing up and my culture and how I was raised with my grandmother and mother and so on and so forth, we knew it was just part of us to respect Mother Earth, take care of Mother Earth, and not overuse. So that's how I grew up. Hence, years later, why I started GC Green. But also, on the Navy side of things, I got an eye-opening experience. I joined to see the world, and they gave it to me. I was immediately sent off on deployment right after boot camp, A school. I was on the enlisted side. I spent most of my time in the 5th and 6th Fleet, which means the Mediterranean and Middle East. I had some eye-opening experiences, and unfortunately I lost a friend. She's actually San Diego native, Seaman Palmer. And I think when that happened, I grew up overnight. And then I realized how energy security, we're so vulnerable as Americans with energy security, and I didn't know that, like what all those pieces meant then. But fast forward now, I understand it, and now we're facing on water security too, because water really, it's like our next oil, basically, where we're at. So I'm really excited to be here today because it's interesting times for many reasons. And thank you again for having us here. The second year, actually. This is our second year. If anybody if they didn't come to, this is your first time here to the Speaker Series, this is our second time here. And I'm honored to be here with Brian with Phoenix Energy and promoting veteran-owned business and technology, and Colonel Doug Applegate, inventor. And I'm really excited that this is to have this group. And I wanted to introduce Rick, who's our CFO with GC Green, and most importantly, my husband. We met in the industry, and the rest is history. But, and we started a business together, and he also works for Janus Financial, and he does a lot of the financial engineering of the structure. Basically, without the right policies in place for energy and water innovation technology, we don't have that growth. And also, without the right financial engineering, creative engineering to make it happen, it doesn't happen. So, really quickly here, Rick Halperin.
Thanks, Liz. Good to see everybody again today. Again, this is our second year, and I wanted just to set the table real quickly here, and thank you, Lauren, and the group for allowing us to come out again today. We're going to talk with a couple of different speakers today. Brian is with Phoenix Energy, and he's a veteran, and Doug obviously is a veteran as well. We're trying to have that perspective today. but I think it's really important so that you guys understand in our second year how our thinking about sustainability has evolved. And what you see up in front of you here is 3 overlapping areas, and it kind of touches upon what Liz was mentioning in her introductory remarks. That sustainability as a solution now does not stand alone. It's not just about technology, it's not just about the next great idea, but it's how you come to market with it and how you grow the economy around it. So the 3 things that we tend to emphasize when we go out and we speak to groups is that the first thing is that innovation is important. We've seen it in the solar industry and the wind industry, and we're now seeing it in additional industries, and that's part of what Brian will be touching upon today. But a lot of that technological innovation is reliant upon finding ways to bring that to the marketplace. So that big other circle of partnership is about where can the private sector and the public sector interact and collaborate to bring these technologies and businesses to reality. And the other area that Liz touched upon is that, especially with a military background and having the experiences that Brian's had, that Doug's had, that Liz has had, and seeing it across the world, Joe's also a veteran, formed his own businesses within the sustainability arena. This idea that sustainability equals national security is something that resonates with a lot of veterans. And it's a part of our platform as we go out and talk to people. It's not just about the clean technology benefits, but what it does for us as a country in terms of additional security and resiliency. The third area, and again, why we're here to talk about the topics we're going to talk about today and why we've organized this way, is that we're also seeing another wave that's coming along here, and that it's really important that as we talk about sustainability, its benefits become democratized across the entire country. And what we mean by that is that this should not be just the purview of Palo Alto, 50-year-old white guys coming up with all the good ideas and then hoarding all the opportunities. If we're going to be impactful and enduring, this has to hit low-income communities. It has to hit diverse communities as well. So as a total, when we look at the sustainability solution matrix, we're kind of playing across all of these particular areas, and we're evangelizing for integrated solutions. So I say that because when you listen to the remarks today, have an ear for where that all comes together, because you're going to hear about opportunity, but you're also going to hear about challenges. You're going to hear about ways to bring the entire population and economy along so that we all benefit from that. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first speaker. His name is Brian Smith, and I apologize back up for Mark, just to make sure I get it correct. Brian is the Assistant Managing Partner of Phoenix Energy. He's a U.S. Navy veteran, having served within the Air Wing. He has an extensive background in engineering development and project management. He's worked in thermal power plants, naval ship construction, oil platform refineries, and gas production for civilian and military installations, as well as being a small business owner. And there's a couple areas we've asked Brian to talk about today. The first is that I'd like him to introduce to you his journey as he transitioned out of the military and his partner's similar journey, and where this idea of induction energy that he's going to introduce to you came from, and where he sees the opportunity and benefits, and then we'll drill into a couple other topics. So Brian, without further ado.
Well, as Rick said, I'm a veteran. The Phoenix Energy, there's quite a few of us in there. It's a small company, but Mike is a former nuclear submariner, basically jumped off of that to prototype school and ended up running nuclear power plants all over the country. Both of us are kind of floater engineers. You guys kind of heard what Rick was saying. One of the nice things about getting into the heavy industry is you can move around. You know, processes are processes and everything's quite similar. So it's not unheard of to be installing radar installation on a ship and then working a food processing plant or something like that, or going and working in a refinery. They all kind of lend themselves to each other, whether it's electrical or mechanical. Well, basically, we started out, both of us working for NRG and then Bechtel at the time. We started out with a waste heat recovery condenser. Now, the idea of this is your steam goes through your turbine at 750, 800 degrees. It comes out as waste heat. Normally, that waste heat is thrown to the ground and basically brought back to condensate. We started with a waste heat condenser to capture as much of that, inspired by the desal units on the naval ships and on the submarines and carriers. They do the same thing, which is they basically burp the steam and you use pumps to get it back to liquid because you can't pump steam. Well, that waste heat is energy. So that waste heat now, you put it through a condenser, and it goes in with a new intake charge. So if your new intake charge is 75 degrees, you want to get that up to 750 degrees to flash the steam. So as it goes up, we are now cascading that waste heat through the condenser as it goes up. So our startup time would be maybe 225 to 250 degrees, which then removes all the fuel it took to get from 75 degrees to 220 degrees, and the corresponding emissions. So we went to the DOE, had some luck with that. Didn't really see, it didn't catch on, even though it's definitely an efficiency that wasn't looked at before. So we both went back to working, and Mike called me up one day and he goes, "Do you want to go to Fukushima?" And I go, "No, not really." They're clearing up low-level nuclear waste. When Fukushima in Japan cracked, all that mud and slurry came into the plant. Well, all that mud and slurry became low-level nuclear waste. So Phoenix, with a company called Curion, developed a vitrification system for that slurry. That slurry basically is mud, but it's radioactive mud. The vitrification system is there to reduce the quantity and ashify it. So you have a big stainless steel tube and two conveyor belts, one that drops sludge and the other that drops glassifiers. Around that, we wrapped an induction coil. The induction coil basically creates an energy field, similar to, it's a resistive energy. The resistance of the metal itself is what creates the heat. So the sludge would jump in, instantly be ashified at 85% reduction. At the same time, the glassifiers would fall in. What you would end up with is a big glass lozenge that could be stored for 500 or 1,000 years. This was the first time induction energy fields had ever been used for treatment of low-level nuclear waste. Well, Mike, having a big background in nuclear power plants, in gas plants, and all the thermal plants, he was one of the designers. And he said he never really hit him until he jumped into, till they were doing it. They're looking at it, they got the camera down the inside of the tube. He sees the heat field, he looks at the temperature. The temperature on the inside of that tube is 2,600 degrees centigrade, which is extremely hot.